Alright, well, may have just witnessed, actually, the game is still wrapping up. There's not much time left. We may have just seen Steven Stamkos' final game as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, which I didn't really know was that much speculation out there. I thought I was going out on a limb. Didn't know this had been talked about so much. They brought it up a lot during this broadcast of the game. So I want to make this now. I'm going to pull a hockey guy Shannon and do this right away. The game is still going. I'm not going to wait till tomorrow. Because I have some speculation about if Stamkos isn't staying in Tampa Bay, I think there's only one place he ends up. There's a reason I'm wearing this. I thought I'd wear this too, because if, you know, he's wearing his whites for his last Tampa game, I'll wear I haven't worn it in a video yet either, so. Yeah, I think that's most likely. And may I ask why? I think answer's pretty obvious. Steve Yzerman. I know he didn't draft Stamkos, but those two, I'm sure, have a very close relationship with probably Yzerman mentoring Stamkos as a player, as a young captain of a team, and you can see echoes of Stamkos' play style. Even I think probably study Yzerman's play, yeah, tapes and everything else. But yeah, I think that's. I said a couple videos back last week or a while ago. I had this idea in my head for a little bit now, maybe a couple of months, that was a possibility. Because it seems like something Detroit would do historically as a franchise. We tend to pick up big players near the end of their careers, like a Patrick Kane, which is the question mark. Is Kane going to stay in Detroit or go back to Buffalo? It's one of those two options, I think. I think he finished his career in Buffalo no matter what. I think he'll play his final season there, no matter what happens in his future. But if he decides to stay in Detroit, can you imagine a line centered by Dylan Larkin with Stamkos on the left wing and Kane on the right? Just as, an example. Honestly, the top six, the power play you can make with that too is ridiculous, because then you can put DeBrincat out there with, it would be nasty, and just, you'd have, again, an elite, one of the best passers of all time and one of the best shoots, pure goal scorer. It's, watching those two play together on a team, on a line, even just on the power play would be something special, I think. I think Stamkos is definitely underrated. It bothers me in NHL 24 this year that his base card's an 83, and they didn't give him an upgradable, like, X Factor card at all for a lot of the big players they do. Like, they do the live moments cards, which are kind of based on current performance. I think his highest is a 92, which is closer to accurate, but really, I think we've seen it in this playoffs, and we saw it, I think, I don't know about this last game that's just happening, just finishing, game 5. But the 4 previous games, Stamkos had a point in every single one of those games. Or I think a point or a goal. Maybe both. I mean, not, it can't be both, but I think it was a goal in each of those games. Playoff and I highlighted in my video earlier his amazing goalie, street hockey goalie style shot blocking. Yeah, shut up, phone. I know the game's over. Yes. I think, yeah, regular season Stamkos, playoff Stamkos, you can see the different gears, and that's evident in this series that just happened with the Battle of Florida. But yeah, I didn't know that speculation was out there so much. So, like, I told this to a friend of mine. I was like, nah, I don't think so. And it's hard to imagine him leaving Tampa. And as was said by broadcast, it's made clear by management they want to keep him. But I wouldn't be all that surprised if potentially when Yzerman left Tampa, they may have had a conversation then about at some point Stamkos coming to Detroit. This may have been talks and may have been in the works for years. But having that Patrick Kane cherry on top might be a bigger incentive if Kane doesn't decide to go to Buffalo now, which I still think is a coin toss. All different opinions on this. That's a whole separate subject to talk about. And I actually got to ask Shannon, the hockey guy, about this on his live stream yesterday. In the super chat, put a question there of what I thought his opinion on if Stamkos or if Patrick Kane was going to stay in Detroit or go to Buffalo, and he thinks he's going to stay in Detroit. I'm not that confident in that yet, personally. We'll see. I think if Yzerman's got it on the table that, hey, we're getting Stamkos, Kane will stay. just to see what that could look like. Because who knows? Could see one of the craziest offensive lines of all time, scoring wise. Who know? Like with again, with Larkin and Kane and Stamkos together, I can't only imagine. I'm gonna do that in my franchise mode in GM just because it'd be ridiculous. Although I gotta tweak Stamkos' stats because they've downgraded him to work. Like again, he's a big game performer. Playoff Stamkos is a whole other level, but which is what Detroit needs. They're going to be a playoff team and contend for a cup. And yeah, you put and again I brought this up to a friend of mine recently, who knows hockey and is a hockey fan, and he said, "Well, we got to obviously signing Sider and Raymond to these big, probably long-term contracts that are going to be expensive now, but will age well." But I explained to him too, like, yeah, that's sort of how the pay structure in the NHL is flipped. Like older players now go short-term contracts for cheap. I guarantee if this happens, Stamkos will take a very, very team-friendly deal. Probably a 1 year contract. Kane will probably take a 1 year contract too. Also, pretty team friendly. Probably more he's making now. More than 2.57, or 2.5, whatever it was. Not much. Basically, free Patrick Kane. He may get more, but also the thing about that, why those players will take team friendly contracts, they're loaded with playoff bonuses, which don't count against the cap. Like if you go to this round, you're going to make this much. You go to the Stanley Cup Finals, you'll make this much. You win the Stanley Cup, and you get paid all the money. So those don't count as part. Those are playoff bonus incentives in the contract bonus don't affect cap hits and stuff. So that's why you will see older players like Kane, like Stamkos, potentially coming to a team like Detroit for next to nothing cap wise, especially because again, Sider and Raymond are going to be expensive for now, but that cap's going to keep going up. So what are probably going to be 2 8-year deals are going to look really, really valuable in about 4 years for what they're worth, what those players will be doing by then. Neither to their ceiling yet. But yeah, I can totally, it doesn't seem implausible at all to me, a world where Stamkos comes to the Red Wings. So just wanted to get this out there now early because I know that talk will start now that talk's already. I didn't know this was such a rumor going on. Not that he's come to the Wings, but he's leaving Tampa. And if he's leaving Tampa, honestly, I think number one most likely place he lands is Detroit. Again, Yzerman. That's going to be a big part of it. Again, if Patrick Kane's staying, both those things are critical there. Even if Kane's not staying, Stamkos would be a huge addition, but can you imagine, like I said, those two playing together, we could see some really special stuff. And then we're not talking about just a playoff team, we're talking about potentially a contending team for a championship, especially if they, address some blue line and goaltending stuff. They're right there. They're in the mix with that top six and even the top nine. Really, all the forwards. So much forward depth in the wings. It's dirty and ridiculous. But I'll shut up now and get this uploaded so it's out there. That way, people know. I said this months ago, and I did hint at it in an old video that I had some crazy offseason speculation that this was it though. That Stamkos was going to be coming to Detroit as a free agent. I think that's going to happen. I'm just going to call it now. July 1st is quite a bit ways off, but we'll see. So yes, hopeful. I'm pretty sure Stamkos will come to Detroit. I'm hopeful Patrick Kane stays, and those two things may be related. So, yeah, if those things happen alone, boy, I'm already excited. But I'm excited for the speculation of what's going to happen with that. But yeah, I honestly, if Stamkos is going to go, I can see him coming from Detroit again on a short-term contract, very cheap. But yeah, because that's how things are trending now. Older players, they're over 35, are pretty much just signing little short, little one-term extension, 1 or 2 year extensions for way cheaper than what they were making. Because now you get younger players get paid for what they're gonna do. You used to get paid for what you had already done. It's totally flipped. It's from my early era of the salary, even before salary cap, but the early days of salary cap, it wasn't like that. It was the opposite. So, um, yeah, that's the situation. And yes, people I know will go, how are they going to cap space all this? Eisner will find a way to make this work cap wise. I have all the. People always talk about the Iser plan, which I think it's a clever pun. It's fun, but I prefer the saying more so with other fans, Red Wings fans. That in Iserman we trust. Just kind of how I feel. Just I have complete faith in him to pull off some stuff like having Stamkos and Kane playing on a line with together, that kind of thing. So we'll see what happens. But just gonna mark this down for the record. So um, wave the victory flag now. Start planning the parade if that happens. Peace.